Good Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another somber, fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Murica Thompson on a beautiful, beautiful Friday morning here in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know if it's. I haven't actually looked outside. I don't know what it looks like.
I haven't been outside yet either.
But anyway, it's Friday, and on Fridays we do something called Dumb Bleep of the week. Dumb Bleep.
What I can tell you
of
for
the week.
sure is that there's no bombs going off around my house.
In Nashville. We know that.
So that at least makes you feel safer than some other human beings probably do.
Other people having to worry about bombs going off. We don't really have to worry about that yet.
Yeah.
Right now. So we, on Fridays, we go through the dumbest things that happened over the last week, and the live group, the Fed Haters Club, joingml.com. They vote for which one is, in fact, the dumbest. Up until the last couple weeks, we typically do like 10 things, you know? And then you get those weeks where something just crazy happens. Like last week.
You only have one.
Dumb Bleep of the week was number one, and it was the Elon Musk, Donald Trump, just complete come-apart breakup that happened. And that lasted about a week.
Yeah.
Not even a full week,
Kinda
actually.
sad, honestly.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
that the amount of time that took to be
that
rekindled.
Is it sad that I was kind of hoping for like more back and forth?
Kind of.
Like
I mean,
public back and
it
forth.
made me sad that it was happening because I really wanted Elon Musk to be the secret president.
Well, now that they're back
So
together,
yeah, maybe it'll be fine.
are you happy?
No, not really. I've given up all hope. And so last week we only had one, and this week, I mean, think about if you're going to count down the dumbest things that happened in the week, or you're going to vote on the dumbest things, think about this week. Since last Friday, what's happened? We had all the stuff that happened in L.A., the riots, the stuff about the riots, the mostly peaceful riots, the whatever you want to call them, that, and then people saying really dumb stuff about that. We had a senator that got detained yesterday, and the Democrats have just lost their freaking minds.
Yeah.
My God. Also a new war kicking off from what it looks like last night. You know, Israel decided to go ahead and do a preemptive strike on Iran, and just all sorts of stuff that we have to talk about today.
There's some interesting things that happened.
A lot of,
with Israelis' precision strikes.
They're very precise. When they know that they have one specific individual that they want to take out, it will hit that person's freaking pillow at night. They'll hit him right in the pillow in his bed.
It's sad, but I was kind of laughing because people were praising the precision.
Yeah.
As if...
And then you look at a picture of Gaza.
And then you look at Gaza like... Oh, we had to bomb all of the hospitals and schools. You know, we couldn't precision strike.
Where was this precision?
It's so wild.
Anyhow,
it's absolutely wild.
If you're like a super pro-Israel person, you might not like Dumb Bleep number one. I mean, we're not like crazy anti-Israel, blame the Jews for all the stuff type
we're definitely
people.
not.
We're not that at all. We really hate war. We're fans of peace.
And I think there's some decent concerns for anti-Semitism that, you know.
I think there's decent concerns. Listen, now the other people aren't going to like what I'm about to say. That there would be a concern, I guess. Like, Iran's not a country to be like, oh, yeah, they got nukes. That's cool. You know, when they're saying over and over again, like, yeah, we're going to destroy you guys. We're going to wipe you off the map, you know, as soon as we get those nukes. Now, does that mean they're about to have the nukes? Does that mean they would actually do that? Or they're just saying that out loud because we kind of had this, we have this mutually assured destruction thing. We have great powers in the world that have nukes, and we seem to find a way to never nuke each other because as soon as you nuke someone, you're dead. All of your people are dead. Okay, you might get some of our people, but you're all going to be dead. And so it's not like Iran like pumps the first nuke off the assembly line, and then they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna bomb Israel, and then they're all dead afterwards.
Yeah,
you know. So that, you know, even if you play out the scenarios, I can understand why you wouldn't want a country who's like, yeah, death to Israel, death to America, we're gonna wipe this place off the map. To have them. And there's, I guess we're kind of skipping over. This is Dumb Bleep number 1, by the way.
Okay.
Israel launched a strike against Iran last night. We're sort of already getting into our opinions on the matter without doing the news. And here's a little bit of footage. This is this. Well, let me refresh this. Let's see how many plays we got here. Okay. Uh-oh. Why did I do that? Go back. I lost it. We had a video of them getting hit, and now
the video's
there we
gone.
go. Now it's gone. I guess it was fake. I don't know. All right, so you see smoke there. Looks like something just got hit. It's got a lot of plays. About half of them were Lindsey Graham, and he went to bed last night. Yeah, there's what looks like something just got struck there. At that point, you're just praying that someone who works for the Iranian government doesn't live in your building. So one of the things they did last night was they went straight to, they killed some of the top people in Iran's military and government last night. Didn't even seem like they immediately went for the nuclear facilities. They started with the people that were going to be tasked with responding to them striking them. Listen, say what you will about the whole situation. You probably know where we come down. Israel, the pager thing, that was creative. The whole pager blowing up thing, that was a pretty creative plan. Mm-hmm. And this has been enacted in a pretty creative way so far as well. I'm not praising it. I'm saying, they took out the people that are going to be responding to the strike first, and then they're going to hit the nuclear facilities after that. Yeah. Is what it looks like to me.
Pretty sure they took out the top. From what I understand, they took out the top 3.
I think they took out the top general, pretty sure. And
the
I don't
chief
know who else.
The chief of the armed forces.
A couple nuclear scientists as well. And then it turns out they also had drones. They, according to Breaking 911, Mossad had built an entire drone facility deep inside Iran, which was activated as they struck. The drones took out many surface-to-air missile launchers and ballistic missiles aimed at Israel. According to this post, I can't confirm. It says Iran now has 0 air defenses left. I don't know if we got a count of every single one and that they've taken out all of them. That seems a little soon to say something like that.
Is it Iran or Iran? Iran or Iran?
Technically, it would be Iran. I believe. Yeah, Iran.
Iran from Iran.
I naturally want to say Iran because that's how I've said it my entire life, but I do believe that Iran is how you would say this.
I ran from Iran when the bomb started falling.
Here's a little bit of news.
First, Caitlin, something I just heard from a senior Israeli official who says that according to Israeli assessments, there are very high chances that the entire Iranian general staff, including the head of the Iranian general staff of the Iranian military, and several senior Iranian nuclear scientists were all eliminated in the Israeli strikes tonight. I hear that again from a senior Israeli official who says that several senior top Iranian military commanders, including the head of the general staff of the Iranian military and senior nuclear scientists, have all been targeted in those strikes. And according to IDF assessments, there's a high chance that they've been eliminated.
All right, so we got that little bit of news there. Let me get back to my slides over here right quick. Now, of course, this is because Iran. Are we going to say Iran?
Iran.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Iran is close to having a nuke. Okay. You can see
as they have since 2003.
Yeah, people already probably know the punchline of this joke, but you can tell from this New York Times article, Iran may be able to build an atomic bomb in 5 years. The U.S. and Israeli officials fear. And, of course, this is from 1995.
So, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. That's not 2003. I meant 1995.
I'm not saying, surely they've gotten closer during this time. I don't know. But this is just, when you come out of
30 years, they'll have it in 5 years.
You can't, whether or not this is even true that they're close to it now or whatever, you can't blame people for being skeptical. It's the government's fault that we're skeptical. It's Israel's fault that we're skeptical. Israel was behind us
It's
going
media's fault.
It's
that
the
we're
media, too.
skeptical.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Iraq had no weapons of mass destruction.
They were behind. Israel was totally supportive of us going into Iraq to get the WMDs. The media propagandized everyone into thinking that that they had WMDs. Our government propagandized everyone into thinking that. And so, regardless of whether or not the people who are skeptical right now are right, I need the government of America and Israel and the media to realize that it is your fault that so many people are being skeptical about this right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The military-industrial complex has been lining y'all's pockets for as long as we've been alive and decades before that. And it is not our fault for being skeptical that this is just another big boondoggle for you guys to get a bunch more money. And that's what it is until it's proven otherwise, in my opinion.
Children's story, if the wolf cries bomb,
that's
when there's not a real bomb.
Red Riding Hood's fault. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
That's what they say.
And Grandma's not getting blown up in this story.
No, that's exactly.
Or she hasn't.
That's
yet.
No, she hasn't.
But they keep wolfing bomb.
Yeah,
that's the chill. I just read that to Parker last night.
Yeah. You should. You
bedtime.
teach him that. So you teach him that story for sure. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Okay.
But if you were.
If I were, I've been doing my part to feed conspiracy theorists some different theories that they could conspirize on.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you were one.
If I were one, I would look at this release from yesterday that says Atomic Watchdog says Iran is not complying with nuclear safeguards, where they send out this warning, we found out that they're not complying with this. Here's what I want to know.
From the UN.
From the UN, here's what I want to know, considering the fact that Trump gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum 60 days ago. Okay, what are the odds that this breaking news about them not complying coming from the UN would be released on day 60? What do you guys think the odds of that are? I'm just saying, if I were a conspiracy theorist, it would be time to bring that up. Like, isn't that weird that you guys released this scary report about them having nukes right at the end of Donald Trump's ultimatum, where apparently it was time to attack, right before that happened. Mm-hmm. That's just weird to me. It's just weird. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but some conspiracy theorists might jump on that whole thing. Okay?
Yeah, they might. Yeah.
Now, originally last night, holy crap, we got to go. We got to move on. But we're not even halfway through number one right now. Originally last night, the word was that Israel had defied Donald Trump because he had been out there saying that we're going to keep working on a deal. That they apparently had a meeting scheduled for like today or this weekend or something for them to try and keep working on this nuclear deal with Iran.
Well, that's not true. Trump knew what was going to happen.
And so the word on the street was Israel, Bibi has defied Trump and America. And it turns out it seems to be the case that, and this is reporting from Axios and then also some stuff that Trump has said, Israeli officials say Trump approved the Iran attack. Quote, we had a clear U.S. green light, and that's from the Israeli officials, adding, reports of Trump restraining Israel were planted to deceive while Trump and Netanyahu coordinated the attack in private. So all those times that we talked about Trump preventing Israel from going to war with Iran, allegedly, right now at this moment, were only planted to deceive Iran and Americans.
Yeah.
At the same time. That he was not actually trying to prevent them. He was trying to throw them off the scent so they weren't ready. So they would think that he would prevent Israel from doing this. And so they just would not be prepared for it.
That way you could be sleeping in your apartment instead of in a bunker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trump posted out, 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance. Go ahead, Charlie, with some more Trump stuff here.
I told him in the strongest of words to just do it. Nike. He brought in the Nike executives.
He'll probably get sued over that one.
But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now. Dead in capital letters, and it will only get worse. There's already been a great death and destruction, but there's still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal.
Iran.
That's why I said Iran. Must make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. If you don't capitulate to what we want, we will incinerate your Iranian empire.
All right, now we're going to go through some responses from some top brass in America real quick. Tom Emmer says 3 things are true tonight. Iran is the aggressor. Israel is defending its people and has every right to. It would be a grave miscalculation to test our U.S. forces. Of course, the Iran is the aggressor being true is, okay, sketchy at best, I would say, considering Israel
that would make,
just bombed them.
By the way, that would make America the aggressor in the Ukraine-Russia war.
I believe so.
If Iran is the aggressor against Israel
through
funding
words.
Hamas and their words, then America is the aggressor in the Russia-Ukraine war. How can America and Putin be the aggressor at the same time?
You just gotta have more.
Who knows?
2 aggressors
But
at the same time.
These people have no logic. They'll flip-flop all over the place as long as the military-industrial complex dollars are floating in their pockets.
Tom Cotton says Iran is the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism. You can't say they're the biggest. That's probably us. Has the blood of thousands of Americans on its hands and is rushing to build not only nuclear weapons, but also missiles that can strike the United States.
They don't.
They don't even have nukes yet. But just so you know, and we've been warning that they were 5 years away from a nuke since 1995. But not only should you be worried about them getting a nuke, but they're also about to have like ICBMs or something too.
Yeah.
That they're going to be able to hit the United States.
They have missiles that can strike Israel.
Yeah. We back Israel.
They don't have ones that can hit the United States.
Back it, even if they did, how many countries have missiles that can hit the United States?
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that would suck, but I'm pretty sure we've got some defense systems over here, but I don't know. We back Israel to the hilt all the way, and if the Ayatollahs harm a single American, that will be the end of the Ayatollahs. Of course, there is fear. There are fears right now that Iran is going to respond. And I don't know if you've seen those maps, but we have a lot of military bases around Iran. Like those funny memes. They're like, Iran wants war. Look how close they put their country to our military bases. You know, it's just Iran is surrounded by U.S. military bases.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's probably a lot of troops that are in danger and you know, hopefully nothing bad happens to any of them. Nancy May says, we stand with Israel fully and without hesitation. Iran was days away from a nuclear weapon. They fund terror, and when Israel wiped off the map, Israel has the right and the duty to fight back.
Fight back.
We pray for, well, they fund terror.
Okay.
Israel doesn't fund terror. Fund it. Okay, whatever. You guys know. You guys already know.
It's kind of sad that we're laughing about this,
I know.
but you have to.
It's Dumb Bleep of the week, man.
Yeah.
We pray for Israel. We pray for all Jews around the world. We pray for our U.S. military deployed overseas tonight. God bless each. I like how that was third. God bless each and every one. America must never flinch. USA flag, Israeli flag.
Yeah. God bless all you people we've put in harm's way.
Glenn Beck says, Heavenly Father. I guess this is a prayer, so everyone bow your heads. Even if you're driving, this is a prayer you have to. It's disrespectful not to. That's American. Yeah, that's fine. Take your hat off. Dear baby God, Heavenly Father, please protect Israel and her people, your chosen people. Screw those Americans. Forgive them and guide them as they strike at the head of the snake. We pray that you spare innocent lives and provide swift justice to those who forsake your name. We pray In Jesus' name, amen.
I don't see that in the Bible.
It's,
I don't see.
I found it a little contradictory to reference Israel as God's chosen people and pray in Jesus' name at the same time.
Because they don't believe in Jesus.
Well, not only do they not, but most of the Israel chosen people thing seems to be in the Old Testament. And there are theories that Jesus kind of negates that whole thing that Israel was the chosen people, and actually it was the church and it was believers, and anyhow.
Well,
I just
Jesus kind of came on the scene and said, all children are God's children.
Yeah,
Jews and Gentiles.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was just saying, I found it a little bit contradictory to.
By the way, I don't see precision striking your neighbors as part of the New Testament. Maybe
it's better than leveling the whole building. I mean, you got to think about it relatively.
Maybe it is in Revelation. I just don't know it that well.
Could be,
because I don't have the Da Vinci Code.
Katie Britt says,
to break it.
Katie Britt says, please join me in praying for Israel.
And now the video you wanted to play is playing.
What just started playing
in the background?
I guess I don't know what just happened there. You guys saw me. I didn't hit anything.
Yeah. Well, we started praying for Israel.
Oh, that's what it was. And as soon as you start praying for Israel, you see bombs dropping on Iran. So that's a sign right there, as far as I can tell. Speaker Mike Johnson says Israel is right and has a right to defend itself.
That in and of itself is not wrong.
I mean, you got a right to defend yourself.
You do have a right to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he write that with ChatGPT with the M dashes?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's see. Lindsey Graham. Game on.
Yeah.
Pray for Israel.
This guy has never met a bomb he didn't want dropped.
No. Yes.
We got to drop the bombs. Okay?
This is not, it's not a game. Okay? You're talking about.
It is for this fucking guy. He doesn't have to do anything. He gets to sit in his chair, smoking his cigar, drinking his whiskey, Just got done playing golf, laughing about the humans killing each other while he sits in his comfy chair, got the fireplace going. He's in his Virginia mountain cabin, laughing.
You went to shooter now. That's where you went. Okay.
Yeah, he's laughing.
I could tell you went to shooter. Okay.
He's a sitting United States Senator.
He is.
You know?
It's not a game.
It is a game. It's a game to him.
It's a game
That's
for
why
him.
he said game on.
It's a game for him. I know. But I'm saying in response, it's not a game.
You think like normal level, like video games would do it for Lindsey Graham? No. He needs real stuff, man.
Do it for him. He's on the hard stuff now.
Yeah. This guy wants to see real life footage of bodies being ripped apart.
My God, we're 30 minutes in. Let's get to that's Dumb Bleep number 1. I really hope no U.S. troops get involved in this. No U.S. taxpayer money should be involved in this, although it already is, I'm sure, and already will be when if Iran gets the people together to strike back. Apparently, they took away some of their military people, but
look, here's the thing.
My biggest thing is that we shouldn't be involved in this. If this is Israel's war, they're the one that is concerned about what their neighbor is doing, and it's just none of our business.
Exactly.
Do we have a treaty signed with Israel that we have to defend them or anything? Is anyone aware of some kind of legal treaty that we've signed with them?
Probably. It seems like they're definitely an ally.
I know that we call them an ally, but
are they in NATO?
I think we need to look up and see if we got any treaties.
Here's the biggest thing about this is that we're just anti-war. I mean, it's never a good thing. War doesn't solve problems. And the fact is they're using this as a way to get Iran back to the negotiating table. And it's like, sure, you may get maybe something out of this, but you're also pissing a lot of people off. It's just, it never works out. We've been doing this whole Middle Eastern war thing for 30 plus years now. And where is it? Are we any safer now than we were 30 years ago when it comes to the Middle East? The answer is no. Israel's
not safer now.
No.
If you're concerned for the people of Israel, you think they're safer now? Say the same thing we said after all the Gaza stuff that's been going on. They're not safer right now. There's going to be decades worth of repercussions for what they're doing right now. And we're going to pay for it, and they're going to pay for it. And every single time there's some kind of retaliation or whatever, it's going to be another reason that we're trying to go to war with those people. I hope that that's not what this spirals into. You know, there were attacks. There were some missiles slung back and forth between Israel and Iran, last year sometime. And so that didn't seem to immediately spin up into an entire conflict. So I'm hoping that's not the case right now. According to Grok, who uses ChatGPT?
There's no formal
treaty, defense treaty between the U.S. and Israel. But we act like there is. That's essentially Grok's answer. But we act as if there is a formal defense treaty. Okay, we have to get to number 2. This will be a real fast one. Trump is speaking again about how people should be imprisoned for 1 year for burning the flag. That was very different.
But they proudly carry the
conversation than the current conversation that we're on, but we have to move on to Dumb Bleep number 2.
The flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see.
Now, you want to know the worst part about that? It's all the military members standing behind him that are cheering for people who burn the flag going to jail for a year.
Even though they're the ones that sign up to fight for your right.
I do not
to burn the flag.
I don't understand this insane snowflake mentality behind all these mainly Republicans who think this.
I'm morally against burning the flag. I think it represents this great country, and it's not something I think you should handle the flag with care.
We try to when we can. We've got 2 flags here.
They're folded properly.
They're folded properly.
Never touch the ground.
Not on the ground. They're up on a shelf in the closet in there. So
also, if you want to burn the flag, who cares? Yeah, me personally, I think it's proper to take care of it, but other people may not think that. And
it's up to you whether or not you want to show that respect for what that means.
Right, and it's probably made in China.
That's what I said on X. I'm like,
you're burning Chinese nylon.
This is like exactly. This is a nylon blend, okay, that was made by a machine in China that you bought for between $5 and $10 at Walmart after it was made by a machine in China, and you're like, oh, you can't burn that. You go to prison for a year.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about, man?
No, I do find it odd that these people are flying Mexican flags.
Well, sure,
and they're burning American flags, and they're in America, so it's kind of strange.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, why don't you just go live in Mexico if it's that great? It's kind of weird. But yeah, people shouldn't be jailed for burning the flag at all. And all it does is make me want to go outside and burn a flag.
I know. The obvious point here is that I mean, I'm so sick of this from Republicans right now. You think that if the Founding Fathers came back here right now and you're like, hey, TJ, first off, we don't have any more slaves. I'm sorry about that. Second, do you think we should put Americans in jail for a year if they burn our flag that was made in China by a machine for 3 cents? If we burn our flag, should we put him in jail for a year? What do you think? I'm pretty sure he would pick up his gun and shoot the person that asked the question. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's completely un-American to
he'd
talk
pick up
about
his AR
because
he would have an AR.
He'd for sure have an AR.
A plethora of them.
Probably have.
A whole trunk full.
It's so anti-American to want to imprison people, and then to see the military people behind him, who they took an oath also.
What's weird though is like the Republicans, like they see it as like an offense, and then it puts this like political ideology war against people. It's like, oh, you hate the flag, so you hate America. You hate America.
Mm-hmm.
You hate soldiers and troops. You know.
Yeah.
They find a way to like be against their fellow human beings, and it's. I tell you what, we saw it with COVID and the left. You know, your neighbors are so quick to want to put you in jail, and with the right, it's the same thing. They're so quick to want to put you in jail.
They just want to find undesirables and put them in jail.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they're undesirable.
Whether they burn the flag or they got Down syndrome, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Either one.
COVID.
Either one of those things.
Put them in jail.
To tack on the number 2, just for fun, this was a funny community notes moment. Representative Jim Jordan said, "We fly the American flag in America." And the really good community note says, "Representative Jordan has an Israeli flag outside of his office door." I'm not sure if this is tied on to number 2 or number 1, whichever one it is.
Could be both.
That's kind of both. Since we're talking about a flag for number 2, I wanted to tack that on there.
It's pretty funny.
So we'll go on to Dumb Bleep number 3, and this starts with, as we've mentioned now a few times this week, or I have one day when Charlie was gone, and we talked about yesterday, this massive right-wing influencer push to try and separate Thomas Massey and Rand Paul from Republicans, basically, to try and turn all Republicans against them, which to me is very black-pilling just by itself. Like, the two most constitutional and principled limited government, small government people, those are the two people you would try to peel off from MAGA and Republicans and try to destroy them and destroy their chances of being in Congress, as if whoever would replace them that would be just fine with bigger and bigger government and more spending would immediately be better than Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. And it's a absolutely disgusting turn of events that has honestly soured me on the MAGA movement more than I've ever been soured on it before. I have less respect for that movement after scrolling the comment section.
Who's paying these people?
Of so many,
by the way,
I don't know. Probably AIPAC, or just GOP PACs of some kind, because they want to get establishment people in there.
Republican NGOs.
Yeah, stuff like that. USAID probably. So.
Which is why we're always a broke podcast.
But a point
we don't take the hard line on either side, so no one's trying to pay us influencer money.
We're going to mention Cernovich and DC Drano, who have been the two principal MAGA influencers going after them. But there was this other thing that I thought was really dumb.
Cat turd.
This is from a page called C3. It says, Thomas Massey is so into cutting spending that he voted against Doge cutting spending today. Okay, now that's weird. Now, I didn't include how many views he's got, but just so you know, these things about Thomas Massey voting no on Doge cuts got probably around 10 million views, something like that. Here's another one from MAGA Voice. Holy bleep. Representative Thomas Massey voted no on $9.4 billion of Doge cuts today. Wait, what? So one Republican voting no. From SS. Thomas Massey voted against the Doge bill. The fiscal conservative libertarian voted against cutting spending. So, of course, that's not true. It should be true, like if you just have a normal functioning human brain, you would realize that that's not true. But at the point that all of these massive accounts were posting this about Thomas Massey, the actual vote on the Doge cuts had not taken place. All that had happened was there was a vote to bring the Doge cuts to the floor. Now you would think, why wouldn't Thomas Massey want to bring the Doge cuts to the floor? He doesn't want to vote on the cuts? He doesn't want to go on the record? No, they tied other stuff into the vote to bring this onto the floor. Like, for instance, they tied into it to change the wording of the big, beautiful bill without having to re-vote on it. So if you voted to bring the Doge cuts to the floor, it passed this other House Resolution 492 without a vote to change the text of the big, beautiful bill. Just if you voted to bring the Doge cuts to the floor.
This is how they do it.
Then this is exactly how they do it. I don't know if this is specifically, like, they do this on purpose, because most people are not going to vote against this because they don't want to be the guy that votes against the Doge cuts or the BBB or whatever it is. And Massey's like, I'm not voting for that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Why would I do that? Now, of course,
it'd be like if someone called you out for not donating $10 to the cancer fund, publicly shaming you.
Yeah.
Without realizing that if you did donate the $10 to the cancer fund, they're also going to take your house.
Yeah. Or they're going to murder 10 million people with cancer.
Yeah. And so you're like, no, I'm not voting for that. And they're like, oh, you're against cancer.
Curing cancer.
Yeah.
Being against cancer would be a good thing, but against ending cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We pretty much explained why he voted against this. Of course, he did vote for the Doge cuts, but 4 other Republicans didn't vote for the Doge cuts, and no one is talking about these people at all.
Yeah.
So it was like this.
The actual Doge cuts.
The actual people who didn't vote for the Doge cuts, they get like a post or 2, and everyone's like, oh, okay, let's move on to whatever the next thing is. Not time to talk about that anymore.
Is there more than one Amati? That there has to be Amati, Nevada, and
I guess so. Yeah,
that's interesting.
More than one Turner. Yeah, I guess that's what that means right there. And then on top of that, GOP Representative Don Bacon this is from Meredith Lee Hill, so believe it, not believe it. GOP Representative Don Bacon tells me he switched his vote to yes on the Doge cuts after he got assurances that PBS will be funded in the fiscal year 2026 government funding. So he voted against this because in 3 months he got a promise that they're going to refund PBS afterwards.
Yeah,
and that's we'll see. We're still going to stay on this right wing against the Constitution. I don't know. Cernovich says, it'll cost money to repair my roof, so I'm going to let it keep leaking to save money. I learned this economics lesson from Rand Paul and Thomas Massey. Now in this, he's talking about how Rand Paul is saying we should spend about half as much on the border enforcement and immigration enforcement. And there's been a really funny turn of events because one of the things they've been going after Rand Paul on was that he said, well, if you're illegal here, you don't get to vote. You don't get to take like federal welfare and stuff like that. I mean, you can get a job, you can work, but you miss out on all the other stuff. And Cernovich has been reposting this over and over again to try and take down Rand Paul. And of course, the turn of events is going to be, turns out Donald Trump apparently agrees.
He wants the same thing.
So I don't know. It's kind of a rough day for MAGA yesterday. Rand Paul says that you could do this with half the money. He also said that they're allocating $46 billion for the wall when the government itself says that it would cost about $7 billion to do it, according to what they're currently spending to build the wall. He's like, it's going to cost about $7 billion to do this.
Why do we need $40
They
billion
want $46 billion to do it. And Rand Paul's like, no one said why we need 46 for this. And I had some people respond to me online when I was bringing this up, and they're like, well, you want to make sure that they have enough because they might have cost overruns. No, this is the government. If you give them $46 billion, it's going to cost $55 billion for them to do it, okay?
It turns out, by the way, it's not only the left that's bad at analogies.
Yeah.
The MAGA influencers are terrible at analogies, too.
It's anyone who can't...
you had a good response to this one.
It's anyone who's not principles first.
Yeah.
To this one?
The previous one.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah, you had a good response.
Yeah, I can't remember what I said.
You said, no, it'd be like if you got a quote for $15,000 to get your roof fixed, but instead you decided to pay $90 or $200,000.
Yeah. I did 6 times the amount because that's roughly what they're talking about doing. Let's see. DC Drano says Thomas Massey and Rand Paul want to reduce funding for immigration enforcement. This is what it leads to. Reason this is so dumb to me is because they don't want to reduce funding. Okay, the funding is supposed to go up $150 billion, increased from what it's at currently right now. $150 billion increase from the current funding amount. Rand Paul says we can increase it by $75 billion.
Increasing
funding by $75 billion is not reducing funding by $75 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. It says they've already worked in the proposed $150 billion into their baseline. That's already their baseline. And so if you say, well, we don't need to increase it by that much, we should increase it by half that amount, that's a reduction in funding, even though the funding is going up.
Yep.
My God. It's a picture of riders in LA.
It's the same people who don't understand that when inflation drops from 9% to 2%, that the prices are still up.
Yeah, it's still inflating.
It's just up at a slower rate.
That was actually a Dumb Bleep submission for this week, but we're just not going to have time to get to it. This guy, Aaron McIntyre, says, I've repeatedly defended Massey over the objection of many right-wingers, and I'd like to say I'm sorry, you were right. This is in response to Thomas Massey saying, if you entered this country illegally, you broke the law and you should be deported. Also, enforcing these laws should not require bankrupting the country.
That's a pretty funny way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to deport you so badly, we're willing to bankrupt ourselves.
We will destroy the entire nation.
Yes.
This guy, James Fishback, says, Rand Paul in 1776. Crossing the Delaware sounds pricey.
God.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, though.
It's a funny post.
It is funny.
But to tie in the Founding Fathers and the Revolutionary War to not supporting a bill that wants to increase our debt limit by $5 trillion and spend $2.2 trillion that
money
we don't
they didn't
have
even think existed back then.
off of taking in 17% of our GDP in taxes and spending 23% of our GDP in taxes on top of that, and to tie that in to the Revolutionary War and George Washington, that's the kind of thing that makes you have a punchable face right there. And then on top of that, to add into the 4 people who didn't vote for the Doge cuts, Josh Hawley, I'm not going to go into the story, I already talked about it earlier this week, is introducing legislation to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. But I just want to let everyone know that Rand Paul and Thomas Massey are the ones ruining the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And by the way, Josh Hawley is not even in favor of the Medicaid cuts in the big, beautiful bill. No one's railing after him about not being in favor of the actual cuts that are in the bill and that he's against.
Because he's a yes guy. That's why.
Okay. All right. Now we get to the LA
I like how they label him conservative Josh Hawley. There's nothing conservative about that.
No, not really at all. Let's see. Now we got to roll through some LA stuff. And I'll start with...
I think this is another reason why I hate politicians, because they're just such kiss asses, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I just hate that type of person. Stand for something.
Yeah.
You know, anyway.
So we have an assortment of videos related to the LA riots right now in LA.
For number 4?
Mostly peaceful protest for number 4. And so we're going to play. This is one where I'm sure everyone has seen already. These 2 mostly soy-fed individuals are blocking traffic. A mother on her way to work comes up to try and reason with these despicable human beings. And here's what happened.
But I have a kid. If I don't, and these people are having their children taken, and what about my kids? If I lose my job today, then what happens to my kid? I can't help you. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do you as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
All right, so there's that.
You can't make this up. I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
You can't make this up. Oh, no. You know what he really wanted to say is, oh, no, a black person trying to get to work.
Who cares?
Who cares about that? What I'm doing is more important.
So she's trying to reason with them, saying, how's this, I need to go to work. What about my kids? All that, because they're protesting ICE. Of course, the lady responds with, this is peaceful. And it's not peaceful to block a roadway and physically prevent people from going somewhere. It's not. Because if they try to go where they need to go, what's going to happen? There's going to be some type of altercation, some type of physical violence that occurs. So it's the act of stopping them is not peaceful at all.
By the way, if let's say you, Nate, you got really upset one night. That's hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
And you prevented your wife from leaving the house after an argument.
Yeah.
You just blocked her every time she tried to leave. You didn't really touch her. You just kind of blocked all the exits.
Mm-hmm. All the exits?
That's domestic violence, by the way.
It seems not peaceful, in my opinion.
That would be considered domestic violence.
Yeah.
If you are trapping someone in a location and not allowing them to freely move about.
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting how they can reframe this. And this is we've talked about this for a long time of how inconsistent the left is in their victimhood ladder that they have. And typically this woman of color would be at the top of it. But right now, there's something more important happening, so we got to raise the brown kids are now above, in this particular situation, are now above the woman of color and her black kid.
Yeah.
The brown is above it now.
Because they're not at risk of getting deported by ICE right now, and they've decided that their cause is what's most important. And the response of, oh, no, not work.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the emotional capability to explain how infuriating that single response is.
Yeah.
From this, probably, he's got to be socialist Marxist guy. It's, when you work, you're going to provide for your family, put food on the table, keep a house or an apartment or whatever it is that you have. You need the job that you have, and to just decide that doesn't matter on behalf of someone else, and to do what? Like, what are you gonna do?
I think instead of jailing people for a year who burn the American flag, we should jail people for a year who block traffic.
Yeah, that's fine,
because you're actually impeding someone else's right.
Yeah,
you're violating someone's right. I think we should switch.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That way we could still jail these people for a year. It's just for something that's actually
just the right people.
Yeah, there's actually something that's probable for actually harming someone else's right, which is what the government's job is to do. If you harm someone else's right, then what a great screenshot, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it gets
her
worse.
Her eyes are in the back of her head there.
Yeah, she's possessed. She's possessed, for sure.
I just let out my John laugh.
Let's see. This is the president of the nation's largest teachers union. Are you ready for this?
This is the president?
Are you ready? This is the president of the nation's largest teachers union. According to Corey DeAngelis, he would know. That's what he says. I don't know what her name is. So here's something that happened.
We the people! We the people! We the people! Yeah! All of us have that right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice.
That's what it says.
Go, you know the thing. We. God. Oh, man.
This is real life.
You should try telling her to calm down.
Yeah.
See what happens. I think it might actually work in this scenario. We should abolish all the teachers unions, any of the public unions, they should all be gone.
Not just teachers,
absolutely
unions,
gone.
Just all unions.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice. That's not it, because there's a quote by Milton Friedman. Actually, he's paraphrasing someone else, and I'm going to paraphrase Milton Friedman paraphrasing someone else who I can't think of right now. But if there's one thing that's going to destroy the country, it's going to be the pursuit of justice, because justice is different for everyone. And I need to find that quote again and see who it was that he was quoting, because I always thought that was a pretty smart idea, because what, justice means that there's climate justice, social justice, racial justice. There's actual justice.
Mm-hmm. Justice shrimp.
Yeah.
Justice
stew. Okay. Here's the mayor of
Chicago. Too many forms of justice,
Here's the mayor of Chicago. He's probably got something good to say.
They are absolutely terrified.
To the left.
And look, I remember a few stand-ups ago when I talked about what terrorism looks like. This is it. There should be no question to what our country would look like had the Confederacy won. We're seeing it on full display. And
so...
Well, that sounds about right.
I'm just like...
They replaced Beetlejuice with this guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's awesome. He's really great stuff. Here's a Princeton University professor also talking about the National Guard.
Now that folk have their red meat, now that they're going to see the spectacle of quote-unquote L.A. on fire, which it's not, right? What will happen? Will he activate the ugliness that got him in office in the first place? Will folk now declare why they love him? because we know that he's always good on the immigration question. And then the second thing, this reminds me historically of it's not a clear analogy, but when the nation, when these political factions divided the nation in between slaveholders and slave catchers. When they made everybody with the fugitive slave law, all of us had to, if someone escaped, all of us had to return that particular piece of property to these folk. With ICE running around LA, forcing people to make choices. Will they protect their friends, their neighbors, their family members? Will they confront these folk?
I like how whenever you start an analogy, you should always say this is not a clear analogy. At least he's honest.
This is not a clear analogy, but I want to say it anyway for the soundbite. Like, if everyone says that beforehand, that would be fine.
Yeah,
this is not a good analogy, but I want to say it out loud anyway. Just want everyone to know. Okay,
it feels good.
This is like the slaveholders and the slave catchers and the fugitive slave law. Now, wherever you stand on immigration and ICE and the enforcement and all of that stuff, can we agree that is he's correct? It's a terrible analogy.
Yes,
it's really bad. The really funny thing about the analogy is like, okay, the slaves were people that we like forcibly brought from their countries and forced them to work. And in this case, these are people who like broke into our country against the law, and
we told them we don't want you.
We're trying to take them back to their country. And whereas, fugitive slaves, you're trying to return them back to their owner,
who forced them.
There is no analogy here at all. There's absolutely no analogy anywhere.
Well, he said it's not a clear analogy. He said it himself. The man called himself out. You got to give him credit for that.
What else do we have? That guy's got a grande sombrero. Let me tell you what.
Is that the taco meme guy? Is that the Mexican word of the day guy?
We don't agree with the term illegal. We're undocumented. We've been here for thousands of years before you guys showed up, screwed up everything. We think we should organize together with the U.S. working class and fight together and create a better system. We're anti-capitalist. We think socialism does work, real socialism, not Venezuela, not Cuba, not any of that crap that they try to sell us as socialism. And we believe it would be a more humane system that will take care of most of all people's necessities.
Is there a country we can look to kind of model the socialism idea?
The only model would be Soviet Union the first 4 years. After that, it became a mess.
The first 4 years.
The first 4 years. And then before everything went way downhill.
That's real socialism, by the way.
The only example before all the murder and death and starvation.
This can't be real.
Imprisonment.
This actually happened? By the way, he's saying the quiet part out loud that this is like this is the real agenda behind the extreme left.
It is.
It's what they want.
It's the only reason so many people will go out and protest. It has nothing to do with the immigrants. They don't care.
Jake says it best. Before they ran out of capital.
Yeah. They had about 4 years of storage. And stuff started breaking. They didn't know what to do. Yeah. They needed new stuff. They didn't know how to make it.
So then they went and murdered the kulaks.
and my God,
things just went downhill from there.
These are real. No, that's after that. I don't even know what to do. Okay, we'll do our.
That alone by itself could be a dumb bleep.
We'll do. Yeah, I mean, if this one wins, we'll have to like try and figure out which one was the dumbest, but it's that one. Here's this famous clip that's been going around.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers.
They're just having fun watching cars burn. What?
Oh, God.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of these clips, so you're getting like a
natural
natural reaction.
I
from
envy
me.
you sometimes not having to deal with this on a daily basis, Charlie.
Just watching cars burn. I talked to you this weekend about the same plans,
Yeah.
I told you this is going to be the most fun
Like, hey,
you'll
man.
ever have in your life.
Hey, man.
Now, don't bring law enforcement to ruin our fun party.
Yeah, no, I'm going up to Illinois for Father's Day weekend. We're going to get together, have some barbecue, watch some cars burn.
Just a normal Thursday.
Just regular holiday stuff in America.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right, there we go. Okay.
I got tears in my eyes because I'm laughing. I was not expecting that.
We'll do a little.
By the way, he's saying that as they're showing the pictures of the burning car.
I know.
Oh, I'm tearing up. That was really funny.
I skipped over some really good stuff in there, but we're an hour in, and we got a little bit left here. So, in a turn of events, and this is not. I put this in here as a dumb because I'm honestly just like, WTF is going on right now. Yeah. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Somebody made a really good poker analogy, where it's like you show your cards before you fold.
Yeah.
But you need to fold.
Yeah, you're still going to fold.
Yeah. The first, few rounds of betting, you were, all aggressive. And then, you're like, I've got 7 deuce offsuit. My bad.
Want you to know. Here you go.
Yeah. Thought I could play you fools. This is what you alluded to earlier, by the way, where it seems as if Trump may be heard from his farmer friends.
Yeah, and then guess what? He posted another truth out that was completely opposite of the video. Yeah.
Okay.
So it starts we brought this up yesterday. Charlie, what did he say?
All right. Our great farmers and the people in the hotel and leisure business. By the way, he's in the hotel and leisure business, hospitality. They have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them. Most kitchens have Mexican workers, by the way.
Been there.
Undocumented workers. Turns out they can change their names and social security numbers at the flip of a hat.
I know a guy.
So anyway, they're being taken away with these aggressive immigration policies, and with those jobs being almost impossible to replace because you have white guys like the one we saw in the previous video who spend their time protesting versus getting jobs.
Yeah.
In many cases, the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming.
Now,
we need the good illegal immigrants.
Keep the good ones.
Yeah.
Get rid of the bad ones. Now, to be clear, I overall support this idea. Even if we all agreed that we were going to get rid of all of the illegals that are in here, let's say there's 15, 20 million of them. Let's just say 20 million. I hear that all the time. Probably way more than that when you look at all the years. People say Biden let in 20. Let's just say 20 right now. That's like decades worth of deporting people out of the country. And it's even more than that because each administration is going to do it differently each time. So it's just, I hate to be the one to tell most of y'all if you're super pro deporting every single illegal, it's not going to happen. It just isn't going to happen.
It's not feasible.
Even if you tried really hard and you spent like $1 trillion on it, it's still going to take you decades and decades, and it's still not going to happen.
What's much easier to do is get rid of the welfare system and don't count them in the census.
And
you shouldn't be allowed to have representatives for people who can't vote.
You should only count people in the census who are, or you count them both or whatever. But it should be obvious that our representatives are only representing citizens of the U.S. Okay, right. That should be obvious, in my opinion. That should be obvious.
What's your opinion? Your opinion's humble.
But the thing is, let's say you want to go ahead and try to do it. Start with the criminals because those are the most important ones. And I don't mean people who broke the law by entering the country. I mean people who have violated the rights of other people in some way, shape, or form. They've hurt someone. They've stolen from someone. They vandalized something, whatever it is. You start with those people. Because you don't want to waste a bunch of time going after people who are probably a net benefit to society, given the fact that they're working. You don't want to go after those people when there's other people that are way worse that you should actually be trying to get out of the country. Even if you mobilize all these resources, you're just still not going to be able to get enough of these people out of the country. So anyhow, I think this is a fine idea. I think Trump did have a fine idea right there. Now, we've got a video of him talking about basically the same thing. Here is El Presidente.
First, on immigration. What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So
that was the audio version of his Truth Social post right there. I think this is fine. I'm fine with it. But a lot of MAGA people were very upset yesterday. And because this is their life, is talking about getting these people out of the country.
That's number one.
It's
for
what they
them.
do. It's their number one thing. That's why Trump won in 2016, and that's why he won again, is because people were worried about the invasion. And I started feeling so much better yesterday. I had this kind of black pill cloud hanging over me, and I started feeling better knowing that all those MAGA people's heads were exploding.
Oh, they are, by the way. You're not even seeing what's happening on TikTok.
No.
You ever heard of Kylie Perkins?
Nope.
She is now a pretty big influencer, had a little over 2.5 million followers on TikTok overnight, by the way, because she's a motivator for stay-at-home moms and stuff. And then it came out about 6 months ago that she voted for Donald Trump.
Oh.
And the left was trying to take her down.
Okay.
But that spun around and all the MAGA people followed her. She went from about 100,000 followers to 2.5 million overnight. But then she clearly got paid the influencer big bucks to come out and talk about compassion and humanity for immigrants. And since she's lost about 300,000 followers in about 2 days.
Well, and we pray for, what was her name?
Kylie Perkins.
Kylie.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
You see the same message being played by all the current influencers out there on social media.
Yeah.
Just like the MAGA influencers, same thing's happening on both sides. So anyway, I found it to be pretty interesting.
Let's see. But then we got this. This is later on yesterday. Go ahead, Charlie. From Trump, Truth Social.
All right. The Biden administration and Governor Newsom flooded America with 21 million illegal aliens, destroying schools, hospitals, and communities and consuming untold billions of dollars in free welfare. All of them have to go home, as do countless other illegals and criminals who will turn us into a bankrupt third world nation. America was invaded and occupied. I'm reversing the invasion. It's called remigration.
It's a word.
Remigration. Yeah. Our courageous ICE officers who are daily being subjected to doxing and murder threats are heroes. We'll always have their backs as they carry out this noble mission. America will be for Americans again.
So
not the farmers.
What is the immigration and deportation policy of the United States of America?
Sounds like it's a remigration.
But for whom?
Well, for everyone who doesn't work for hospitality and farmer.
I guess so. Yeah.
Because those people are going to quickly be remigrated.
Everyone else.
Yeah.
Just not farms and hotels. He's got a lot of friends in the hotel industry, and he cares about our farmers for sure. Okay. Now we'll move on to the last thing. We got to get votes in. Okay. I'm ready. Alex Padilla. His name was Alex Padilla. No, that's not it.
It's Padilla there.
Yeah. Padilla. Alex Padilla.
By the way, I saw the full video. I saw him come in.
This one?
I don't know if you saw it. Yeah.
So we know the video of him coming in to the press conference while Kristi Noem was speaking yesterday. Sort of barges in, starts asking a question aggressively asking a question. Does eventually announce himself that he is a senator, but sort of the altercation with the officers and himself has already started at that point before he starts saying that he is a senator. I do want to point that out, but I'm sure everyone has seen the video by now. Here's just a little bit of it. We won't play the whole thing.
And embellishing. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands up.
All right, now he's on the ground.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
That does kind of hurt when they put your arm up your back like that.
How would you know?
Doesn't feel great. May have happened once.
Okay. Might have happened once. Yeah. I'm surprised you could feel anything.
I did it for the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got experience points.
Street cred.
Mm-hmm. Here's a little bit fuller version kind of from the beginning. Let's see.
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
so I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this.
Hands up, hands up.
Also, I want to talk
Senator Alex Padilla.
So at that point right there, we're 11 seconds in. That's when he says, I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I think he said Padilla. Pretty sure. Haven't really paid attention yet.
Yeah,
but
he
I'm
did.
pretty sure that's what he said.
Well, you can tell at the very beginning, though, she's in the middle of talking, and he just interrupts.
Yeah, and
Secret Service doesn't know who he is. He's moving forward.
He is moving forward. He's up there. They're in L.A., by the way, where stuff has been happening. And plenty of threats, I'm sure. ICE agents have been
Which is why,
attacked,
by the way, there's
assaulted,
Secret
whatever.
Service and FBI surrounding
all sorts of people
where Kristi Noem is.
So they're clearly they're clearly on guard a little bit. So he comes in aggressively asking a question. They say lunging. I think lunge is probably not the best word. I think he tries to walk up there forcefully to the front to make sure he's in front of some cameras, because that's the whole point, to try and ask some of these questions. I believe he's probably not invited. He is interrupting while she's speaking. I don't think you just have the right to come in and do that. I don't even think that that's free speech, honestly. You know, that sounds like what some leftists would do. You know, like, this is me being peaceful. I'm going to stop you from speaking and come in and force my way in through security and talk to you. And that's me being peaceful. And these guys are the ones that are committing violence right now against me. So anyhow, we've got plenty of responses, because I don't know if you know this. This is fascism and authoritarianism.
Yeah.
It's a dark day for America.
This is what it would look like if the Confederates won.
Like that. When I see a U.S. senator getting arrested, I think that that's the opposite. You know, I'm like, good. You know, maybe.
Well, he's opposition.
Yeah, he is opposition to the dictator, of course. And we're very close to the firing squads. We're not at the firing squads yet, Liz Cheney. But we're almost there. Okay, getting close. Hakeem Jeffrey says, Alex Padilla is a good man and principled public servant. Can we stop calling people who make $200,000 a year public servants? The brazen and aggressive manhandling of Senator Padilla by the Trump administration is a sickening disgrace. Anyone who assaulted the senator should be held accountable. No one is above the law except for Senator Padilla. Chuck Schumer, I added the last part, says, thrown to the ground, manhandled, brutally taken down, handcuffed. It's disgusting. It reeks of totalitarianism, un-American, not what democracies do. Padilla was in the building to ask questions of what's going on in California, doing his duty to his constituents. We need answers now. He also says the video sickened his stomach. Okay, we need immediate answers. Lies with Brian Liar Cohen says they are violently suppressing the voice of the people. That's one of the big problems, the 17th Amendment. That's okay, voice of the state, maybe. Maybe the states could get mad about this, but the senators shouldn't be a voice of the people. Anyhow, Krasenstein, one of them, says, this is Trump's America. This is so incredibly pathetic. I'm so sad for the state of this country. Chris Murphy, senator being violently removed from a public briefing. Many of are reaching out to Padilla right now, and there are facts we need to gather, but this is a very, very serious moment. Tammy Bowren says this is simply jarring. This administration is sending the National Guard and armed Marines into neighborhoods and now shoving to the ground and handcuffing the U.S. Senator at a public briefing. We need some answers and accountability from this administration immediately. Bernie Sanders, let's see here. The assault in California by federal agencies against my colleague Padilla was outrageous, and those responsible must be held accountable. Tragically, what happened to Padilla today is becoming normal behavior for a Trump administration, which is moving us toward authoritarianism. Trump is attacking the judiciary. He is attacking the media. He's attacking law firms. He is attacking universities. He's attacking immigrants, the poor, and workers in every corner of this country. And today they handcuffed a senator from the largest state in the country. The American people do not like petty tyrants. We defeated King George in 1776, and we will defeat King Donald.
Who comes up with this?
I'm not sure what's going on. They keep calling California the largest state in the country. I mean, shouldn't they at least put in parentheses like by population? I mean, it's not the biggest state, right?
They forgot
Am
about
I wrong about this?
They forgot about the Alaskans.
If I was an Alaskan, I would be offended right now. This is offensive. This is authoritarian by California. Senator Mark Kelly says, what the hell are they doing putting their hands on a U.S. senator like this? Padilla was trying to ask a question in his own state to keep his constituents safe, and this administration shoved him, pinned him down, and handcuffed him for it. It's outrageous. If this is how they handle a senator they disagree with, imagine how they're treating everyday citizens when the cameras aren't rolling.
So he did speak after this? What did he say? Have you seen it?
No, he's given, by the way, he's okay. Just so everyone knows, he is alive. He's not under arrest.
Didn't go to jail.
He's not in prison. He has been doing nothing but speaking since this happened, and everything played out just like he hoped it would. Everything's fine, and he's getting way more attention, like the fact that none of us knew who the hell Alex Padilla was before this. Never heard this guy's name my entire life.
And now they all know it.
And now you know his name, so mission accomplished. Everyone, great job. Permia Jayapal says, this is absolutely outrageous. This is a senator, full stop. Am I supposed to keep reading after full stop, or what do you... To treat him like this is beyond the pale and the mark of an authoritarian.
They all just get the same playbook.
This is a disservice. I just... It's so... there are people who actually currently live under authoritarian regimes, like real authoritarian regimes, real ones, okay? And then there are people throughout history who lived through not just the first 4 days of the Soviet Union, you know? Those 4 days, 4 years, the first 4 years were pretty good, and then it got rough after that. They had to live under the authoritarian regime after that. But to be up here saying that, like, this guy who barges in, announces himself about 12 seconds later, after he's already pushing back against the agents that are trying to push him back, who don't know who he is, clearly. Even if you know who he is, do you just have the right to just barge up there while someone's giving a press conference and start yelling a question at them? I don't even know what the rules are on that kind of thing. Especially while you're in LA dealing with all the issues that are going on.
Not someone who's protected by Secret Service.
And the guy gets detained. He goes on the floor.
Even, okay, when you talk about Secret Service, even people who are like friends with Trump have to be screened and stuff like that. Like, they're not just going to let you walk up to the person they're responsible for protecting.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't happen. I don't care if you've known the person for 50 years. Kristi Noem could know exactly who the guy is. It doesn't matter.
No, really doesn't matter. And apparently he's supposed to be wearing this Senate pin. I don't know. But to say, like, to treat him like this is beyond the pale and the mark of an authoritarian regime. That if they can do this to a sitting senator, just think about what they can do to you. Absolutely no one should be treated this way. I hate them saying this, like, oh, if they can do this to a senator, imagine what they can do to some little peon like you guys. Screw that. I don't care. Everyone should be treated the same. I'm sick of acting like it's this guy's more important than me. Elizabeth Warren says it's time for Republican senators to speak up and support an independent investigation into what happened to Senator Padilla today, and it's time for Kristi Noem to resign because of what happened. She needs to resign. She was the one in there giving an answer at the press conference. He barged in trying to answer a question. Not Kristi Noem, but Secret Service agents pushed the guy out of there. Kristi Noem needs to resign. I don't know if you guys followed everything that just happened, but there's a clear line
logical sense
to she needs to resign, clearly. I'm not even going to play Elizabeth Warren's video. I don't even care. And they, I mean, you think we're done right now? No, we're not done. They marched down to Senator Thune's office. This is from Jamie Raskin. The brutal handcuffing. Have you ever had a brutal handcuffing before, Charlie? Oh, it's rough.
They're not nice usually.
It's rough.
Yeah.
These immigrants getting kicked out probably feel bad for Senator Padilla right now, I bet. The brutal handcuffing of Senator Padilla is an affront to democracy. I'm joining House Democrats to march to Senator Thune's office.
What does he do?
And he's the Senate leader.
Oh, okay.
And to demand that he protect his colleagues from this out-of-control authoritarian onslaught. Oh, my God, guys. Just please someone make me feel better. Someone in the chat, let me know right now. This is fine because no one really gives in to this stuff, right? No one's actually giving in to this. I mean, some people are, but they don't matter. Whoever actually is reading these things and be like, yeah, of course. No one actually believes this stuff, right?
Oh, they do. They absolutely do.
So, Clark, I want to bring it. But remember this. They lost the election, and I'm going to bring up, they lost the 2024 election. You remember all the stuff that we were talking about leading up to that election? All the Madison Square Garden rally, the firing squads, all that stuff.
They set it up.
It didn't. No, what I'm saying is it didn't work.
No.
No one believed them.
Well, I'm saying they set up the narrative so they could continue on. Like we told you.
Oh yeah, now they can say it. Yeah,
we told you this is evidence.
Causing the situations. Yeah. It's hilarious. Kathy Hochul, what happened to Padilla today shocks the conscience. This nation can and must do better. Melanie Stansbury, she's also in the march, the Freedom March to the office, where they marched to the office, and then they videoed it and they posted it online, marching with the Hispanic caucus to the Senate to demand GOP leader John Thune take immediate action to investigate and hold DHS accountable for the assault and detainment of US Senator Padilla. This is America. This is our democracy. We will not stand for it. Okay, and then we have Cory Booker, and he's probably going to close us out. No, we've got responses from Padilla.
I want to see what Padilla had to say.
No, you want to hear what Cory Booker had to say.
Okay.
We'll still do it. Oh, God.
If you can make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop? He's a United States Senator. And if you could force him to kneel to his knees violently, when does it stop? What does it say to other Americans who want to speak up? What does it say to other Americans that want to exercise their constitutional duty? What does it say to other Americans this weekend when they want to peacefully protest? What does it say to other Americans from humble backgrounds who know poverty? That if a United States Senator who stands up to do his job can be made to heel, driven to his knees, violently handcuffed, what does it say? What message does it send? Everybody in this body should see that this is a crossroads. They treated a member of the United States Senate violently after he identified himself, dragged him out of a room, threw him upon the ground, and put him in handcuffs. Every member of this body should object to that. Why? Because the statement was that he was disrespectful. That is unacceptable. That is offensive. That is un-American. When you drive a man to his knees.
It just keeps going, huh? Where did he get his theater degree, you think? He's pretty good at it. Man. I tell you. It also sounds like he's preaching.
Yeah. He's more worked up about
this. I've had a dream that Senator Padilla would rise from his knees and the handcuffs would melt from his arms by the grace of God. Amen.
He will be free at last. Here's Alex Padilla.
Over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues, have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information.
Was that what he was doing?
And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this.
You were detained.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
Cue the tears.
He is upset.
Wow.
So I don't know if his account of the situation matches the video very well, but at this point, who cares? Okay, let's get the votes in. We got to go. Everyone start getting your votes in.
He was able to cue the tears at the end.
I know,
there.
he's good.
That was,
he's
emotional.
Good. Yeah, for sure.
This whole thing has to be a setup. He knew that he was going to be removed by...
Of course he did.
Yeah, you're right. Yesterday when we talked about this, this is a narcissistic wet dream.
It is. Yeah.
It played out perfectly.
It played out very perfectly and exactly what they all needed at this moment. By the way, while people are getting the votes in, and we'll get some final thoughts.
Actually, I might be with Senator Warren. We should do an investigation, discovery into emails and phones. And
we
see
should.
If this whole thing was set up.
I'm sure it was.
Let's do that.
Who texted him and said, "Hey, why don't you go do this?" Number 1, the war. Number 2, flag burning. Number 3, MAGA versus Paul and Massey. Number 4, all the LA stuff we talked about. Number 5, immigration ? Deportation ? Amnesty? I'm not really sure. Number 6, Padilla-gate. That sounds like a pretty good...
Get your votes in.
Sounds like a pretty good Mexican restaurant.
While you're voting, I need to tell you to sign up to vote. This is an authoritarian podcast here where we require a subscription to the Fed Haters Club if you want to vote. So if you're just listening on the podcast, getting the free version, that's fine. We have no problem offering things for free.
That's fine.
But if you want to get some extras, you got to go to joingmail.com. Be part of the Fed Haters Club. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to godhatesfeds.com. Pick up some merchandise. And it looks like
it's the new war that
surprising.
Wins. Yeah,
I'm actually surprised about that.
Well, I mean, it's war. I actually almost didn't want to put it in as a submission because it's war. Like it sort of trumps, sort of just trumps everything, But it's happening and it's dumb, and there are decisions being made by people that are likely very, very dumb. Everyone have a safe weekend out there. There's a lot of peaceful protests that are planned. Don't interrupt someone that's watching the car burn, having fun with their friends, laughing, watching cars burn. Yeah. It could be a rough weekend.
Even if it's your car burning, it's fine.
We've got a giant military parade going on, which is just a fertile ground for something bad to happen as well.
Yeah.
My black pill sentiment right now is that this is going to be a really bad weekend overall. That's how I feel.
Perfect weekend to travel.
Great weekend. I'm traveling this weekend.
Okay.
And it's sort of...
Bonnaroo's going on down by...
Is it? No.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not good. That's not good. But it's just be safe out there and make sure that you are... if you have any weapons, carry them with you. I'm bringing mine. Yep. You should bring yours too.
I lost them.
So, screw those people. I'm bringing mine.
Mine are all being held. Currently.
That's true.
I
forgot about that.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, every single. Yes. There's not one that they missed.
Nope,
not a single one they missed.
Got them all.
Yep.
So, all right, do all those things I said or don't. I don't really care. but Nate does. So if you care about Nate, you'll do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, we'll be back again on Monday. Nate will, at least maybe sometime next week. I'm out of here.
Oh yeah, you're gone
Taking
all
some
week.
time off, just like I did this week. So until then, I hope you have a good day. Enjoy your time with Nathaniel, and we'll talk again soon. I hope you have
maybe
a good morning, Liberty.